What's up, YouTube? This is Mr. Ferguson here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Welcome back to Central North Carolina for another video here in my lawn. We are still in the making of this, the last day of August. I know I'm making it a little early than when you are watching it. But man, I did a mow yesterday, and as soon as I got done, it started thundering, it started clouding up and getting dark, and I said, Lord, give me 10 minutes. No sooner did I push my mower, get in the shed, walk in, go have a conversation with Mr. Kevin. 10 minutes after that, rain started coming down pretty decently, so God is good. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel at this point, I'm not sure if we've already announced or done it on the channel, but below me here, if you're not subscribed, that's the first part, man. What are you doing? Subscribe. It's free. It's totally free to you. Click that bell so you'll know when new lawn care videos come out. You'll be notified so you can watch them. You can comment, be some of the first in the comment section. And we're also, on this past Saturday, we announced, I did a new video talking about, we've got memberships. If you want to be a Mr. Ferguson lawn freak, you can see the join button down there, if it's there. If not, it will be there soon, but you can click join. And if you want to have benefits to loyalty badge next to your name to show how long you've supported, if you want custom emotes, if you want priority highlighted comments in the comment field and in live streams, and also to have access to videos early, consider becoming a member, a Mr. Ferguson lawn freak. It's $4.99. If not, everything remains the same. Everything is free to you, so that is totally up to you, but it is there if it's something that you're interested in. Today, guys, I want to talk on two main points, and it goes back to an older video. Like I said, for you guys, it's an older video. To me, it was today. But we released my lawn plan, and I went through what my idea is, and I got two great comments, and if I'm smart, I can put their comments down here low. If not, I'll just kind of paraphrase. The first one was by Tim. Tim and Javier. They were asking and suggesting things about the Tenacity. And so I want to be very clear, and I want to share with you guys my goal. It's a very it's a process with the Tenacity and seeding that is going to be very timely. It's going to be very calculated, and it's very if you mess up, you can mess up your grass, you can mess up all the seeding, and it's risky. And so I want to break it down, and it's best to, I wish I had a whiteboard like Matt at Grass Factor or Glenn Beck that used to do the whiteboard or the chalkboard, but I'm going to try to lay this out the best I can, and maybe if I did a drawing, I'll place the picture here while I talk. But let's say day of seeding. And this is where Javier, the commenter, came in. We're going to we're going to aerate and seed. And what I'm going to do is put my RGS down, put my fertilizer down as normal. And so we're going to cover some of that with peat moss, and we're going to let that grass begin to grow. So we've got turf type tall fescue, typically 5 to 7 to 8 days that fescue is going to grow. And then we've got in the Jonathan Green, we got a little bit of Texas bluegrass in that one. And as we know, Kentucky bluegrass takes about 2 or 3 times as long to germinate and appear than does the tall fescue. So for that reason, the Tenacity, again, briefly, Tenacity is a pre-emergent and a post-emergent, meaning it can stop weeds from coming up with pre-emergent qualities. It can also be applied after grass has emerged and weeds have emerged. It can be applied to kill weeds. We are strictly wanting to use it. Not only do we want to prevent weeds at time of seeding, but we want the pre-emergent qualities in Tenacity. That's why a lot of people use it when they overseed or seed a bare ground. Is it absolutely necessary? No, it's not. But for what I'm doing, it sort of is. So let's continue. So we put our seed down, we're aerating, we're putting RGS. We're going to wait a couple days. That's what Javier suggested. It's a very good idea to wait 2 or 3 days after seeding. Don't put Tenacity down the day of seed, wait 2 or 3 days. Well, why does that 2 or 3 days matter? Well, it's extending out the length of time we use or lean upon Tenacity. What do you mean, Mr. Ferguson? You're confusing me. All right, here we go. So 2 or 3 days after seeding, then I'm going to apply Tenacity to my lawn. Why? Because you're allowed to apply Tenacity at time of seeding. So we're waiting a couple days. Germination is not going to have happened yet. 4 days, maybe a little. I think 3 is going to be the right number. I'm going to go with 3 days after laying the seed. 3 days later, I'm going to put down backpack sprayer Tenacity in my lawn. Blanket spray. Now, when we put it down, Tenacity gives you approximately 30 days of coverage. So 4 weeks of coverage. So 30 days of pre-emergent, no weeds coming up, tenacity is down. It's going to protect everything that, it's going to affect any weeds. It may get hit, but that's not what we're doing it. We're doing it for the pre-emergence thing. The key thing about tenacity, if you're using it as a pre-emergent, if you're doing it as post-emergent, I want to kill this weed I'm looking at, you leave it on the blade. If you're wanting to use it as a pre-emergent, you need to water in tenacity. Very crucial. It says it on the label. Pre-emergent qualities, we want to water it into our soil. So don't forget that. So we're going to water in our tenacity. We're going to get 30 days of coverage. During that 30 days, our fescue is going to begin to grow and develop roots. Remember, towards the end of that 30 days, we should be able to see our Kentucky bluegrass start to pop up around that time. I won't be looking for it, but we know it takes around 21 days for Kentucky bluegrass to come up. So it's going to be, even newer baby grass to come up. So turf type tall fescue coming up, and now we got Kentucky bluegrass coming up. So right around day 28 of, if we plant it on this day, 28 days later, 28 days later, we want to do another application of tenacity. Why? For post-emergent to kill weeds? No. For pre-emergent, we want to water it in again. Why? Because now it's been 4 weeks, and so after we've planted, it's been 4 weeks, tenacity's label says, don't apply me onto grass, newly seeded grass, until you've done it until it's been 4 weeks, roughly 30 days, or 2 mows. So you have to have developed that grass a little bit. That will be the case by that time for the tall fescue. It may not, it is likely not going to be the case, maybe, for the bluegrass. The bluegrass may be just coming up at that point. It may not have come up. It's going to be hard to tell. Could that totally stunt our bluegrass and mess it up? It is a possibility. It is a small amount in the Jonathan Green, so I'm willing to take that risk. And there is a little bit of risk right there with the bluegrass, not with the fescue, with the bluegrass. So there is a little bit of risk right there. That's going to cover me for another 30 days of pre-emergent. We got to water that in, hoping it's not going to totally kill our Kentucky bluegrass. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So now we're 60 days. So how long does tenacity work as a pre-emergent? Roughly 30 days. So now if we add up the first app and we add up the second app, we're getting out to roughly 60 days, right? The Prodiamine app says if you're going to put down Prodiamine, you can't just sit there and apply it to baby grass. You need to have at least 60 days after seeding. So tenacity is going to get us to that 60-day mark with the pre-emergent. So you see what I'm saying? So we're doing that. Well, why do the tenacity, Mr. Ferguson? Because in this period, we can take a risk and not do that second application of tenacity. But if our soil temperatures are starting to get around 60 or drop down, that's when Poa annua begins to germinate. Even though we may not see it in our grass, it's starting to germinate and pop up, and it's making it through. And if that pre-emergent isn't there, it's gotten through, and it's going to thrive and come up and plant seed heads and all that good stuff. So the tenacity is supposed to cover us for those 30 days. Then we can apply at the 60-day mark. We can now apply the Prodiamine, hoping we've given enough time for our bluegrass, maybe, maybe not, but what's more important, those, 4.9% or 5% of Texas bluegrass in the Jonathan Green, maybe more than that, or putting down Prodiamine. That's the question here. Mr. Ferguson, what are you going to do? You're going to risk hurting your Texas bluegrass, or are you going to cover your whole lawn with Prodiamine doing this and have no Poa annua? This year, I'm going to try it here on the channel I'm going to risk the Texas bluegrass of possibly hurting it with the second app of tenacity. Hopefully it don't. But I'm going to put Prodiamine throughout here and let the fescue come up. So that's in detail, more detail, the tenacity and Prodiamine plan. So you have to be careful. If you're like, well, originally, I'll admit, I didn't read Prodiamine and say, okay, when can I apply you? Okay, can I apply the second app of tenacity right after that? So we have to, there's timing is the point here. After we apply tenacity the first time, you need to wait 4 weeks before you do it again. That gives enough time for our grass to grow and for some of the bluegrass to come up. Then we're going to apply tenacity again. It could stunt. Like, remember, we had some grass over here we did tenacity with, and it even still says fine fescues. If you put tenacity on fine fescues, it can harm it or slow its growth. But this area did recover. So I'm hoping that if I do hit some of the bluegrass, it does recover. Maybe it slows it down. That's fine. But I really want to get Prodiamine down. I've never done a good application of Prodiamine in the fall to prevent POA annua and have straight up no POA annua where I don't have to bag all the time. And some may get through, but that is the goal, so I hope that makes sense right there. All right, secondly, the second part, what about bluegrass? So forget everything I just said, let's talk bluegrass. Tom, Tulsa Tom, great commenter. Tom, thank you so much for watching. This one's for you, and I think it's benefit everybody on the channel. He asked, okay, Mr. Ferguson, Solar Green has Texas bluegrass in it, and you're putting that on your bank, but why are you then saying, well, with triple threat, you're not doing triple threat plus, you're not buying the triple threat that's got Kentucky bluegrass in it, but you are putting it on your bank. Why the heck are you not putting it in your whole lawn? Why don't you just put Jonathan Green in your whole lawn? What's the difference? You know, that don't make any sense. And I get where he's coming from. So let me explain the best way I did to Tom. So the Solar Green, the Jonathan Green Solar Green does have Kentucky bluegrass like we just talked about with Tenacity. But it is a Texas bluegrass. The cultivar is designed for heat. That's why it's called Texas bluegrass. Can you grow Kentucky bluegrass in Texas? Normally not. It takes too much water. That's why this has been developed, designed by scientists and all that. It is a cultivar that they've played around with, and it can take heat. It is drought resistant, and it takes less maintenance or water. It is a specific type of bluegrass. It's not your northern style Kentucky bluegrass. It is a Texas bluegrass. It is a heat. It's almost like a warm season kind of cold season plant. It's weird. Just like we got spreading fescue, qualities of Kentucky bluegrass, qualities of Bermuda, we've got a heat and drought resistant bluegrass product. So it's perfect for North Carolina. So that's why with that blend, I put that by my road. Why? Because that heat tolerant, heat resistant bluegrass darkens up. It looks good, but also it can take the heat coming off the asphalt on that bank and by my mailbox. So why don't you want to put, so that kind of answers the question, why don't I want to put Kentucky bluegrass in my lawn? Because number one, if I did it, it would have to be Texas bluegrass. Now, are there blends out there of Texas bluegrass? Absolutely, and I think one year I need to do that. That would be awesome to be able to plant Texas bluegrass all throughout my lawn and see if it does act as fescue and need as much maintenance as regular Kentucky bluegrass like I did with the GCI Cool Blue. But the reason why I didn't buy the Triple Threat Plus is it is not the same type of Texas bluegrass as what's in Jonathan Green. It is the, quote, northern style bluegrass that needs a whole lot more water than fescue, meaning it dries out quicker, it needs more water, it needs more attention, more than the fescue grass. Don't get me wrong, it looks phenomenal, it looks beautiful, but it requires more water, and I just am not willing to do that. Don't have the budget, don't have the money on the city water to be able to give it much money. That would be shooting myself in the foot, basically an extra, water bill or two to give bluegrass just for the looks, and right now not willing to do it, not willing to go there. So that's why. Now the other thing about Jonathan Green Solar Green, it only comes in bags of 7 pounds. You can't get 25-pound bags, you can't get 50-pound bags. If so, then there's an option there. Mr. Ferguson could put, or you guys could put Solar Green all throughout your lawn, have the quality, and there, like I said, there's other blends of Texas bluegrass we can do, but that's why I didn't go with Triple Threat Plus. That Kentucky bluegrass needs more water. The Solar Green Texas bluegrass doesn't need as much, and at least that's what I've seen in using it for a year. We'll see if that's the same this year. All right, I've talked enough. Thank you for those that are still here. Comment down below if you made it all the way to the end of this talking head video about explaining Tenacity and Kentucky bluegrass. Type the word "I'm ready to seed" below. I'm ready to seed in bold. Type "I'm ready to seed," so I know you made it all the way to the end of this video, and I'll be like, what the heck is this? Because I'm going to forget I said that. But let me know that you made it all the way. Thank you guys so much. It's an honor to be able to talk about these things. I get excited. I'm ready to seed, ready to aerate, ready to thicken up this lawn, and hopefully we can prevent POA and not damage our seed. That's the goal, but we're going to try something. We're going to try something and see. That was a terrible idea. That messed me up. That was a bad idea. Hey, that's why we try it here on the channel first, so you guys don't mess up your lawn. Let me mess up my lawn, and you can watch and enjoy the show. And that emote where you sit back eating popcorn, you're like, oh man, what a wreck, what a train wreck. This guy keeps posting videos. Oh man, he shouldn't have done that. And you guys can just enjoy the show, keep liking it. When it's a disaster, it's good for content and views, because everybody wants to see the train wreck, right? We're just attracted to it as humans. So thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not. If the join button's there, hey, consider joining, be an elite lawn freak of Mr. Ferguson's. We'll see you on the next lawn care video. God bless. Peace out.